Conor McGregor gave evidence, or began giving evidence yesterday in the High Court in his case involving Nikita Hand and himself and his friend Mr. Lawrence. He said that he had vigorous and fully consensual sex with Nikita Hand in the Dublin hotel. He said there was no sign of a tampon. During his encounter with Miss Hand, he told the High Court that she is basically full of lies. That was his evidence. He said that they had athletic, vigorous, physical, prolonged and fully consensual sex in a multitude of positions with Nikita Hand in the penthouse suite on December 9th, 2018. He was shocked, he said, when Gardaí showed him photos of the bruising on Miss Hand. He said the bruises may have been caused when Miss Hand took a swan dive into a bath in the suite on December the 9th, or when she was out partying on the night of December the 8th. But he told senior counsel for Miss Hand that, I'll tell you where she didn't get them. She didn't get them from me. That's what he said. That was his evidence in this High Court case. He said that, or he was asked about her claim that he had her in an arm lock during an alleged rape. She said, your client is full of lies. Everything is a lie. He said the sex was fully consensual with Miss Hand. He said there was not an iota of distress. It was all happy, fun, energetic. He said he did not see any sign of blood and he would not have had sex if he had. He said he did not see or feel a tampon and there was no sign of one during sex with Miss Hand. It wasn't there, he said, when I was there. The tampon must have been introduced after he had sex with Miss Hand. McGregor was being cross-examined in this continuing civil action for damages brought by Miss Hand against him and against McGregor and another man, James Lawrence. Both men deny separate sexual assaults of Miss Hand at the Beacon Hotel on December the 9th, 2018. Nikita Hand's case concluded on Wednesday, after which the respondents, Mr. Lawrence and Mr. McGregor, who were separately represented, began their case. Mr. McGregor began giving evidence at about 2:30 yesterday. He said he had been in court throughout the entire hearing, but he was not there on Wednesday morning due to a stomach complaint. He said Miss Hand, like him, was from the Dublin 12 area. He didn't know her personally, but had seen her around and they moved in the same circles. He said he was living in the Kate Club in December 2018 and he was driven to a closing party for the District 8 nightclub on a Saturday, December the 8th. After which he and others, including Mr. Lawrence, went to the Crystal nightclub in Dublin city centre. He said he was with Mr. Lawrence and a few friends from his martial arts team. He was on the stage at the District 8 event. He posted a photo of that on his Instagram account. He said Miss Hand responded to that post privately and sent a friendly, slightly provocative photo of her in a red jumpsuit, and she said where she was. He said it was a nice picture, I liked it. At the nightclub, he ordered drinks for everyone that was with him. He said there was cocaine produced later. People were asking where's the after party. Some people tried to get into his car and were driving around and trying to get something going. He asked for a room to be booked by his security people at the Beacon Hotel, but he wasn't sure at that stage whether he wanted people to go to it, he said. He couldn't recall whether he dropped Mr. Lawrence home at some point or he got home of his own accord. He said throughout the evening there was a slew of messages from Miss Hand saying that she was at her Christmas party at the Goat pub and asking him to come out to them. Later messages from her asked him to come out and get us, he said. When he picked up Miss Hand and a work colleague, Danielle Keeley, he thought he was going to their party in the salon, but when he pulled up, they were outside the salon in a blink. He was not sure what they were going to do and had no plans immediately. He said it's nice to relax in the back of the car and be driven around. He said when Miss Hand got into the car, she was very, quote, bombastic and energetic. He said that Danielle Keeley may have thought he was showing off his watch. He didn't believe he was, but he could see she may have thought that was not the case. When the women were slagging him, he thought he might go home, but Miss Hand said not to, urged them to party, and they all got along then, he said. He said he had two boisterous ladies full of energy, and he decided then to get Mr. Lawrence, whom he knew from his late teens, to level it out and have a party. They drove to Mr. Lawrence's house. He went inside, told Mr. Lawrence he had two lovely ladies looking for a party, and got him on board somewhat reluctantly. Because they were having great fun in the car, they decided to go to the hotel, he said. The mood when they were in the hotel was full of energy, fun and playful. He said drinks were ordered, including Bacardi, because Miss Hand liked Bacardi, and they played music via the TV. The reality of the penthouse suite, he said, there was two interconnecting rooms, hotel rooms. One had a bed and one had a sofa bed. When they first got into the room, he said Miss Hand bundled into the bath and there was a thud and she tried to play it off by pretending to swim. The party was in full swing. Myself and Nikita were getting close. We were kissing, touching, he said. In the suite, he said he went into the bathroom and Miss Hand followed him in. As he was in the bathroom, Miss Hand was in and out of the bedroom, very boisterous and energetic. As he came out of the bathroom, they began kissing more passionately and they took it from there. He said that she performed oral sex on him when they were both clothed and they had both taken their clothes off. He said Mr. Keeley, or Miss Keeley rather, Danielle Keeley and Mr. Lawrence were on a sofa bed in the interconnecting room and the door between them was open. Asked, was that unusual? He said, not really, thinking the whole thing is unusual. He said that he and Miss Hand engaged in sexual intercourse and began in the missionary position. Asked by counsel to explain that to the jury, the judge said the jury don't look like that they came from Mars. Sexual intercourse, he said, wasn't invented by the Beatles either, he added. McGregor said the sex was enthusiastic and athletic and he and Miss Hand went through a multitude of positions and it went on for a bit. He said there was a bit of banter with Mr. Lawrence and Miss Keeley, which was all good-hearted. He said there was no tampon, no blood and no discussion of a tampon. He said he fell asleep and was woken up by Miss Hand and Mr. Lawrence, each holding up one of his legs. He said he eventually came to, that Miss Hand propositioned him again, began to perform oral sex again on him and they began to have sex again with her on top of him. He believed he was about 6 hours in the hotel room and he first had sex with her after about an hour. He believed he left about an hour after having sex a second time with Miss Hand. He said that Miss Hand was urging him and the others to stay, but he had nothing left and described he was going. He said he had arranged for a car to bring the others home and told them they could order food, drink or whatever in the hotel. He said Miss Keeley asked him for a lift home. She was also living in Kildare and he eventually agreed to bring her home. He said she was a nice girl. He said he saw no bruises whatsoever on Miss Hand and there was not any sign, not an iota of distress, he said, from her while they were in the hotel. When he learnt about social media posts saying a rape claim had been made against a sports star, he never thought that it referred to him, and when he learnt it did, he was shocked and frightened beyond belief, he said. It was the most scary thing I've ever gone through in my life. He wanted to assist Gardaí, and a letter from his solicitors of December the 13th, 2018 asked Gardaí to go to the hotel and preserve CCTV. The cross-examination, Mr. Gordon, senior counsel, put to Mr. McGregor that he had said his reaction was to show Gardaí everything he had, but he had not given them his phone. Mr. McGregor said he wasn't asked for his phone. He agreed he had not offered it and said he was taking advice from his solicitors. He was upset about that because he wanted to give the Gardaí everything, he said. He was asked then would he give his phone now. He said it was not the same phone, but he would. He wanted every shred of evidence to be put before the court, including evidence of your client frolicking in a taxi and sucking dick, Mr. McGregor told Mr. Gordon. He agreed that Miss Hand had given her phone to the Gardaí, adding with deleted messages. Mr. Gordon put it to Mr. McGregor that Miss Hand had allowed messages to be recovered. Mr. McGregor said some, not all. Counsel asked him about losing a fight in the octagon in Las Vegas in October 2018 to a Russian fighter. McGregor said that he was beaten in a neck crank and to the untrained eye it was a headlock. He agreed he had tapped to stop the bout and his opponent was proclaimed the winner. Counsel put it to him that it must have been very distressing. He said it was a fight. You win some, you lose some in the martial arts game. It was put to Mr. McGregor, the claim, Miss Hand's claim that he had put her in an arm lock 3 times and told her she now knew how he had felt in the octagon. He said, your client is full of lies, everything is a lie. He did not know how anyone could believe that, as he is a prideful person and this would highlight a shortcoming. It was a lie, he said. McGregor's evidence is it's a lie and almost a fantasy. He said, in my head it feels like a fantasy. He agreed that he had heard the medical evidence concerning extensive bruising of Miss Hand. When he said that the bruising, a doctor had said the bruising on her neck was consistent with a love bite, Mr. Gordon said that that was only a small bit of the bruising. Mr. Gordon is cross-examining Mr. McGregor. He was asked then, McGregor was asked where he thought she got the bruises. He said she'd taken a swan dive into the bath and was out 3 days from her Christmas party. I'll tell you where she didn't get them, he said. She didn't get them from me. McGregor's evidence is that they had sex. He had sex and with Miss Hand, he said it was athletic, physical, vigorous, prolonged, in a multitude of positions, and during some of them he had his hands on her hips, buttocks and the back of her legs. He did not have his hands round her neck. She did not bite him, and he did not bite her, he said. He said it was not rough, and he did not believe he caused any of her bruises. She did not tell him, he said, that she was having a period and had a tampon. He said he was shocked by the photos of the injuries. He says, I did not cause them. Are you sure she did not have sex with someone else? He said. His cross-examination is to continue today, Thursday. Earlier in the day then, Danielle Keeley, the other person, the other girl that was with Nikita Hand on the night of the party, she works in the hair salon, and she was partying with Miss Hand and other work colleagues on the night in question, December 8th, 9th, 2018. She said she went to the hotel suite with Miss Hand, Mr. McGregor and Mr. Lawrence on the morning of December the 9th. She said she saw Miss Hand go into an interconnecting room with Mr. McGregor, but did not know what was happening in there. Miss Hand came back out, and according to Miss Keeley, everything was fine. Everything was fine. No one was in bad form or anything. I didn't notice anything had happened, she told Mr. Farrell for Mr. McGregor. That's Remy Farrell, Senior Counsel for Mr. McGregor. Miss Keeley's evidence is that she did not notice any physical marks or injuries on anybody, and did not see any bite mark on Mr. McGregor's face or bruises on his hand. She had sex with Mr. Lawrence in the sitting room of the suite and had used condoms, she said. Her phone was broken, and she had asked Mr. McGregor could she leave him with him because he, like her, lived in Kildare. Miss Hand and Mr. Lawrence were to go in another car used by Mr. McGregor's security staff, she said. All four went down from the suite in a lift, and she said goodbye to Miss Hand, who gave her a hug. Miss Hand did not want people to leave and wanted everyone to stay in the hotel, she said. She got a message then from through Instagram from Miss Hand a day or so later saying she'd been raped. I was surprised, she said, because I didn't see anything. Miss Hand later told her to delete that chat, she said. Miss Hand phoned her when she was in the Rotunda Sexual Assault Unit, which the jury has heard was on December 10th, 2018, and told her she was raped, she said. Miss Keeley said she told her she did not see anything. Miss Keeley was subpoenaed by Miss Hand's lawyers to come to court, she said. Senior counsel then for Mr. Lawrence put it to her some questions. She said she had sex with Mr. Lawrence once, and only after he produced condoms. She could not remember hearing Mr. McGregor and Miss Hand having sex. She could not remember saying to Mr. Lawrence she's going to regret that because she has just bought a house with her boyfriend. She could not remember Miss Hand making some lewd remark about Mr. Lawrence kissing Miss Keeley on the stomach. And she agreed. She made a statement to Gardaí in January 2019. She agreed. She'd said Mr. McGregor collected her and Miss Hand on the morning of December 9th in a black car with blacked out windows. They'd driven round for a couple of hours, and she remembered going into various housing estates. She agreed. She said in her statement that Mr. McGregor had cocaine. She said she, Miss Hand and Mr. Lawrence had taken cocaine. Counsel asked her, everybody had taken cocaine? She said yes. Conor McGregor's cross-examination is to continue today, Thursday. Hope you liked the video. Hit the thumbs up button down below if you do. Thank you very much.